John was working in his science lab, got blasted by gamma rays. Now he's Smash Trivia John, always smashing. He's friends with Ruffalo, in love with Aslan, and also some arrow weaving. John's here saying, hello my gamma friends, welcome to the show, the Gamma Analysis Podcast.
And hold. Smash.
Hello, my Gamma friends. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Smash Trivia John. You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram by searching Smash Trivia. I'll be the one with the big old green head in the profile picture. This is the Gamma Analysis. Basically, I'm going to review everything Hulk, all the movies, TV shows, and also do random other geeky films. Hope you enjoy. Smash Trivia presents the Gamma Analysis. So I want to ask everyone listening, please do sign for me. Please share the hell out of this podcast with all your friends. If you don't, Hulk will be angry. Now let's smash right into this episode. Today's episode is a review of Supergirl, the new one this time. Last time we did the 1986 one, and I believe it was 86, either that or 84, something like that. But this time the new one from this year with my friends Brayden and Kira. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay.
Good.
Yeah. I liked this so much more than the 80s Supergirl film. This is honestly a masterpiece in comparison to that film. Have you ever seen that the 80s one, Kira?
I have not yet.
I do. Okay, part of me does want to show you, Kara, because there are some.
I know a lot about it.
No, there are some parts of that because the Supergirl 1984 film was destroyed by stuff behind the scenes, and then when Christopher Reeve didn't want to come back because he has a bad relationship with the Salkind producers, they had to write Superman out of the script, and when they wrote him out of the script, that also led to more problems with the Supergirl 1984 movie. And there are like not only a lot of plot holes in the film, but there are certain things in that film that don't totally make sense, and there's even some infamous moments that you will have to watch to believe. If anyone wants to watch a truly weird film in editing, watch the Supergirl 1984 film. But this one is much better.
Yeah, it is wildly better. But yeah, I loved this film.
Same.
It was so much fun. And I love what they're doing in the film of having like. I want more films where we have superheroes beating up pedophiles. That's somehow a wildly rare thing to see. But I want
in
more
film, yes. In comics, no.
Yeah, but particularly like in film, like it's rare to see. I want more of that because it is very fun to get to see something like that, and with like I really do. It really saddens me how this flopped at the box office because I do think this is a great film and deserves to make a lot more, especially with that plot. In this era of so many people being very vocally against pedophiles because of the Epstein files coming out. I do think that if this had really leaned into this is a movie about beating up pedophiles,
yeah,
I think it would have had a boost at the box office.
They were afraid to really push that in the marketing. I think
it's also another thing. There's only one other female-led comic movie that did something kind of similar, where the main villain is a sex trafficker, and that was Black Widow, the Black Widow film from Marvel, and that did well. And of course, there were some people at the time who were. This is the weird thing. There's a lot of people. Sex trafficking has been touched upon, obviously, intimately in the comics, whether because a lot of certain villains were rapists, certain heroes, and even supervillains were sexually assaulted.
Like Peter Parker.
Yeah, like Peter Parker, Green Arrow, Nightwing, or even like a lot of the female heroines were, of course, assaulted and had to kill sex traffickers.
Shelena.
Even in recent live action male-led superhero TV,
Hmm.
Arrow had one episode of vigilante killing sex traffickers because of the CW. The CW didn't want to touch upon that, and then there was allusions to sex trafficking in season one of Daredevil. They dealt with that kind of quickly because Daredevil was beating the fuck out of all these sex traffickers. Punisher killed them all in the Netflix show, and then so when it comes to sex traffickers, we've had them be nameless henchmen and villains, and then of course with Dreykov in the Black Widow film, he looks like a Russian Harvey Weinstein, and then with Krem in this film, Supergirl, he looks like a Mad Max villain. There is this strange. I guess they were maybe kind of worried of offending people or do something wrong. And for some strange reason, it's one of those things where I could kind of feel something was off behind the scenes leading up to release this film. I think it's a fun film. I think it's a great, solid film. There was a bit of a controversy like before release. I'm not talking about the this terrible grifters being who, whatever, fuck them. But I'm talking about the director of the film, Craig Gillespie. I might not be saying his last name right. Apparently, he and James Gunn, according to reports, they had a conflict behind the scenes in regards to the editing of the film, where Craig Gillespie was like, "Oh no, this is this is my film for the most part," but James Gunn came in and re-edited most of it. And the only thing I can think of is the flashbacks in regards to Kara's past were put in different orders of like different parts of the film. That's the only thing I can think of because for the most part, it's seemingly the rest of the film was Craig because like it looks like his color grading that he used for Cruella and some other stuff he used here and there. I felt was him. I don't. Now there were some people who were worried that maybe James Gunn over sanitized the film if like some Warner Bros. Executives got on his ass, but I don't know. But other than that, for the most part, it's very fun. I think it
When I
pulls.
think of James Gunn, I don't think of sanitized as the first word that comes to mind.
Yeah, no, but that's what the director was claiming. That's what Craig Gillespie was claiming. He claimed that
He
James
is
Gunn.
yeah, but now he is in the spot where he is in the
Yeah.
and
He's in the Kevin Feige. He's Kevin Feige DC.
he has to balance out his desire to not necessarily like soften things, but also to balance out like making sure everyone above him doesn't get pissed off. So I could see something there where it's not that he wants to, but he could be like, we have to do this, but let's see how we can make it not as like the least negative impact possible to soften this. You know what I mean? But even then, I could see how like you do have to kind of, and I feel like it might be something to do with because like the Kara stuff definitely has the most to do with potentially like the continuity of the rest of the DCU. You know what I mean? So I could see that being what is being like edited the most by the external forces who have to make sure that that kind of like is in line with what's going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Superman, yeah.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. Yeah, as well, another thing about the film that I love is Jason Momoa as Lobo. I think he did great in that role. I do wish we got a little bit more of him though, because I like the way I heard of him being in the film with marketing and all that stuff. It really felt to me like it was gonna be a side where like they were like teaming up for the majority of the film, and like they're not really doing that at a lot. Like there's only a few scenes of them teaming up.
They intentionally did that because of the misogyny. You know what I mean? Like they intentionally did that in the marketing to be like, don't worry, there's going to be a guy here for most of the time. But I'm actually glad that was a bit of like that they didn't actually do that because he definitely would have overshadowed her more than unfortunately he already has because a lot of people are like, unfortunately for a lot of people, the fact that he's even there has already overshadowed her. And that's not his fault, but it does suck that that's like the response of the audience.
I think I just like I wanted more because like I want to see their dynamic more because I don't think we
they
really
were
got
interesting together.
I would say we got more of a dynamic between him and the little girl than him and Supergirl. And I'm very curious, but if we actually were to ever get more of them together, what would actually be their dynamic, them teaming up?
Oh no, I get that. I can actually kind of maybe shed some light on some of this. So, Tom King, kind of an asshole, very controversial person, big DC writer.
Kind of.
Yeah, I know, right. I'm just trying to putting it lightly, but
Famously,
yeah,
probably
no,
one of the
this.
most evil people on this planet right
No,
now.
no, no, right. So the script is based off of his book because James Gunn loved his book. But according to Tom King, he said years ago, I wanted Lobo in my Supergirl comic book. DC editorial told me no, he won't fit because he's such a anomaly. He won't fit your book. But when this movie was being adapted, James Gunn found out, and he's like, if he was in this, where would he be? And he was like, well, this part of the film, like this part of the
Mhm.
script, and that's when they put it in. But this is the weird thing they with Lobo. I like Jason's performance as Lobo. I see some people love it. I see some people get kind of
Yeah,
irritated. Not, but it's only
it's
because
it's weird. Where like I saw so many people say that they felt like he was phoning it in as
this okay.
Lobo, which is like
This
I didn't get that vibe at
no.
all.
This is the problem. He got hit with the Rock syndrome. It's similar to how the Rock as Black Adam was teased to be Black Adam since 2008. And his Black Adam movie did come out to 2022. And by the time it came out, it was after The Rock became so popular
Mhm.
with all these other typecast action films that when he was Black Adam speaking Arabic, he tried to put on this different vibe and stuff. There are some people who are like, we should have gotten this when you were young, Rock, when you were a younger man. So with Jason, people like him for different things. Some people are irritated with him for different things. But in regards to Jason, there are some people who are like, I wanted Stargate Atlantis Jason Momoa for 2007 to be Lobo. That's your Lobo. That's the Lobo we needed. You're too fucking old now, Jason. I've seen people on Twitter say that. They're like, you're so old now.
It
I
just
need.
doesn't make sense to me because he had that it's I think it's better for Lobo to be a bit older because it makes more sense with every like the what who the character actually is.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
he's an immortal who destroyed his whole planet. Why would he look like a young buck? Like I don't know. It's
No,
just
no, no.
like
Yeah, that's the thing. I think it's one of the things where, like, I
it
remember.
also very much is like if Ronan never developed morals. That is
No,
like
no,
what's
no,
happening.
Kira, because Kira, you and I both love Stargate Atlantis and we love
Of
Jason's
course.
character of Ronan as Lobo.
Hmm.
People have wanted Jason Momoa as Lobo since 2007. I remember the photoshops of him as Lobo in 2009. I remember they would just
I
take his
fear
that
people
that
have become so people become the well is poisoned when you're right when that much time passes and nostalgia and then
yeah
like bias and typecast all get mixed together and when you make decisions based on a nostalgic like idea from decades ago it can sometimes make people feel like it wasn't a creatively and like there wasn't creative integrity to that decision if it's kind of just trying to be like oh let's relive the good old days you know what I mean so like
Mm.
there's a line to like balance there but I think he did a good job.
oh
I
no
liked
it's
his relationship with the little girl the
Mm.
most
Oh
because
yeah.
that was the most like interesting but also I did like that he kind of like he very much had it as an interesting perspective of like he enjoyed watching other people stop pretending that they're above him in a way, in the terms of like the violence, where he was excited to see a little girl get violent. He was excited to see Kara kill that
Hmm.
guy. You know what I mean? Not just because he deserves it, but because he's excited when people admit that they feel those things too. I think that that because they
Mm.
all try to act like, oh, we're so much better than you, and he's like, y'all be doing this shit too, though. Like, don't
Yeah.
he like has a thing of like, that felt good. Don't fucking lie to me.
no 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 that's the thing. I remember there are some people, even some people like. Because a lot of people liked this movie and some people didn't, right? But even the people who didn't like this movie, they did like that Lobo and Kara have a debate, like that scene where they're talking to each other,
Hmm.
and it's like you and I agree he deserves to die. And she's like, yes, but it shouldn't be her, Ruthie, the little girl that does it. And Lobo's like, why? Because he doesn't see it. He's like, it will make her feel better. I was like, no, it's a little girl. It's like,
It's not even that he it's interesting because it's the debate is never he shouldn't die. It's that she's very much like it shouldn't have to be like Ruthie like will not actually benefit from this the way she thinks she will. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I like that she sends Ruthie away and then kills him herself. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Um, and I find it interesting that she's like, and for what you did to that little girl, but she doesn't specify Ruthie
Yeah,
because I feel like it was also about Sarna
yeah,
and
yeah.
really all the girls. You know what I mean?
No,
But
no, I
like
Yeah.
love, yeah,
because
yeah.
she definitely felt responsible for what happened to Sarna and her parents.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? She felt like 'cause it was actually that's probably one of the like genuinely most heart-wrenching parts of the movie because of how close she could have been to saving them, but didn't. But just wasn't. It was too late. You know what I mean?
Also, one thing that I like about this film that I think is very underrated, and it kind of does something similar to Superman 2025, and even stuff with Mars and stuff in the comics. Kryptonians are obviously incredibly strong. And of course, there are some people, some cynical people, they're like, well, if they're so strong, then how can the plot function? But when Kara gets poisoned and her power
Mhm,
is zapped by like almost 60%,
mhm.
there is a lot of danger in that scene because she has to fight being poisoned, fight to do all this other stuff, and she's trying her hardest to do her best, but she's also struggling. And
Yeah.
I like the fact that they kept the tension there, and also even Krem, Krem, the actor. I think the actor had a lot of fun playing it. Obviously, despicable.
He's a horrible person, but very funny, like as a villain.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Him
yeah,
just like eating everyone's food and drinking everyone's stuff is just really funny.
yeah.
Oh
He
yeah.
came in and ate that chick's maggots. Like, oh, you might gonna eat this? I will. And I just thought that was really funny.
No, no. There was one moment where I
It's the
remember.
nonchalance that really works for that kind of piece of shit. Just
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
he's so comfortable being that evil.
I think
He's not conflicted about it at all.
no, no, no. I think the actor kind of said, or maybe one of the people involved in the film, they said that that scene where he comes in and talks to Ruthie's parents before he finds an excuse to kill them, right?
Mhm.
He's enjoying the food. It was supposed to be based off of the scene in Inglourious Basterds, the opening scene
Yep.
where the Nazi Hans Landa comes in as a
Mhm.
guest, pretending that they like him, right? They're trying to be nice to him, and he's focusing on the food because the only thing that matters, not the people.
Yeah.
Like, and he wants a reason to kill them.
Because the thing that's gonna give him pleasure is consumption.
Yeah,
He
and
consumes food just like he consumes people.
Mm.
and I also like the fact that some people get irritated. I'm not irritated, but like the writing for villains in films, whether it be superhero stuff or science fiction, fantasy, horror, or dramas, there are some people who are like, I get irritated when a villain has to have a heart or a villain has to have some deep emotional backstory to make you feel sympathy for him. Where
Mhm.
Cram, he is a through and through, like this man has chosen to be this for a long, long
He
time. There's
enjoys it.
no,
It's a good
yeah,
time to him. It's
Yeah.
lucrative.
yeah. He's just pure evil. And I do like the fact that he is not generic. Like I remember there's some people complaining that he was. I'm like, no, he's clearly memorable. I
Mhm.
love his look. I
Yeah, no,
love his design. Yeah.
it's the nonchalance. It's toying with people as if he actually doesn't even care that much about playing with them as toys. Even it's
Mm.
toying. It's treating them like toys, but in such a way where it's like, oh, all right, I'm done with you. Bye. Like that's the like it's that indifference. Like the combination of like I enjoy fucking with people, but also I don't like get he doesn't get lost in it and consumed by it in like a bloodlust way. It's so casual. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like it's so he's so in control that it makes it scarier. When
Yeah.
someone like
Yeah, yeah.
loses themselves to their desire to like do you know what I mean? Like that makes them a little bit like I guess more like animalistic, you know what I mean? But he's like like on a cerebral level he's like he's like having a great time fucking with people, not in like an adrenaline pumping way like Lobo, like where Lobo clearly enjoys the rush. He doesn't get a rush. He gets like sadistic satisfaction from playing mind games
Mhm.
with people. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. And
Mm.
so what were you saying?
No, no, no.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were saying something. No, but one thing I wanted to say is that like there is a lot of like subtle things in the script and the storytelling that I think some people who didn't like the film kind of miss. Because especially like with Kara at the beginning of the film, she's not well. Obviously, she's
Mhm.
still mourning the death of her people. She's drinking, and she's trying to turn off her emotions, but she's trying to pretend that she doesn't care about Ruthie and what she's been through. And
Mhm.
then I think that's
Even though
why,
you see her get pissed the second that the
Mhm.
guy takes her sword.
yeah. It's like,
She was already like, "Oh, you lost your parents. That's rough, but I can't help." And then she saw that and she was like, it was an interesting moment where she was like, "Listen, I'll ignore the chick and not feel because I can't, you know, like she tried to, but then like she turns around and she's like, it's one thing to ignore a child in need. It's another thing to take their fucking shit. You know what I
Sure.
mean? It's to take their fan. Like that was I like that was a line that that she couldn't stand to see crossed. You know what I mean? Because it does remind me of how like she was so close with her father. You know what I mean? So is Ruthie. So like, and she doesn't really have like crypto is kind of her piece of her like home and family left, but for Ruthie, that's the sword. Like the sword is all she really has left of them. So in a way, it does almost foreshadow that crypto is about to become threatened next because Kara chooses to help because she sees it as like, what if someone took crypto from me? I would want someone to help me if that happened. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what if someone took the one thing I have, my piece of home, and then that happens to Ruthie first, she helps, but then it happens to her, and Ruthie helps her in return, even if she's not like, even if it's not the most traditional like muscle help, she does help her in like some like more like unexpected ways that I think is interesting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like even being there and like one of the grossest parts of the scene is definitely like when they're like trying when she has to pretend to treat Ruthie as a bargaining chip. You know what I mean on the planet. But that was also a really well done scene in like tension building where they're like dragging the chair back and forth. And like I like how they're not subtle about like what's happening in this planet. You know what I mean? They don't have to be explicit. We don't have to have like a rape scene on screen. But they're like bad shit is happening to these girls. You know what I mean? Like there's not good things happening. And that's also a moment like it's interesting. Like in the beginning, she's like she doesn't necessarily. She's like this guy just took killing him won't help. And then Crypto gets threatened, and then she's more mad. But it feels like when she finds out what they do, like with the girls, I feel like that's when she really decided, oh, I am going to kill him. Like you see in her eyes, she's like, oh, I'll kill him. Don't worry, I will be killing that man.
Oh yeah, I love of Kara's whole vibe in this film. It was so much fun to watch her and her personality throughout this. Which like that was honestly something that at first when this film was announced, I was actually worried about because so many people online told me that this film was gonna be super dark and serious because that's what the comic this is based on is apparently like.
Honestly, it is pretty dark and serious.
And like I was glad that it did still have humor to it, and it did still have and she still had a fun personality. I thought it was just gonna be dark and serious, and that worried me. So I was very pleasantly surprised. I was going into this, especially and I was and like I happily had already been coming around to this Supergirl because I really liked how she was at the end of the Superman movie as well. So I was but yeah, I'm really glad that it wasn't quite the vibe that that people were telling me about. Like the people were telling me like it's gonna be super dark and serious, super depression thing, and all that.
That's why you don't listen to people before a movie comes. Like you just form your opinions.
Well, they were saying that though as if that's a good thing. They're like, it's adapting this comic that's super dark, and serious and depressing.
Well, it is though.
That's I'm like. I don't really. I was like, I don't really want Supergirl to be super or serious and depressing. As I like that this to me felt very darkly comedic. I think was what is what I would call the vibe of the film.
Well, the thing is, not everything needs to be funny. But all you know what I mean, and so, but like at the same time, this is like it still is very dark and serious and depressing. Still, you know what I mean.
I understand not everything
like
needs to be funny. I'm just saying, like, I understand not everything needs to be funny. I just probably wouldn't have enjoyed it as much if it wasn't because, like, personally, my favorite kinds of films are the funny stuff. But I'm not trying to say that everything has to be funny. I'll be clear about that. Like I respect people wanting to have dark and serious films.
Well, the thing about it is, like with superhero films specifically, there's been kind of like a status quo to where they're not allowed to take themselves seriously sometimes. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people feel like in like the past few decades, have been like there's a lot of like shoehorned forced humor into things that people feel like undercuts the emotional stakes a lot of the time, and like sometimes that is true and other times it's not, you know what I mean? And it's all about a balance of like how to get stuff to be funny and also not undercut
Yeah.
the deeper emotional stakes you have, which is I think that what people struggle with sometimes making these kind of things. So they manage to balance like having it be funny without it undercutting the serious subject matter, which would have pissed me off. That would have made it impossible for me to enjoy if it was constantly undercutting itself.
That
But
makes
luckily
sense.
it didn't do that. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it balances it out well. And like I also don't like stuff that's like nonstop like serious and to me like sometimes because it can like I like don't like things where like the tone is not allowed to like dip up and down where it has to like stay static on either end. It's like okay, now I'm bored. But like this managed to have like its tonal variance with like there's humorous stuff and then like darkly comedic stuff and then the darker stuff and then the emotional like heart of it is kind of like this connection that's in this fear of vulnerability at the same time as like being super lonely. And so the humor is like more self-deprecating and like a darker humor
Yeah.
because of who she is as a character, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that I did like a lot because it did like it
Mhm.
fits, you know what I mean? And that's also like
Oh yeah.
a place where Lobo as a character fits because he's like a darkly comedic character.
Yeah.
Like he's funny because he's fucked up, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So and that's kind of like yeah, like she's funny but it like because that's kind of like because of like either she's coping with humor because she's fucked up or the way the situation she gets herself into are so absurd because her life is so fucked up that it's funny. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like it's like it's so ridiculous that she's in a situation that it's funny that it's happened. Like the bar fight is funny because it's like it. I can't believe she's fighting all these fucking dudes in this fight. While the chick just sits there and kind of like dissociates because she's like, "What the fuck is happening?" Like Ruthie just being
Oh yeah.
like happening in the background. Where Ruthie's just like, "Why is my life like that?" Like so, I think I agree. I think it had like a good balance, but I also
Oh
think some of
yeah.
the people that were saying that who were like excited about it having a darker tone, I feel like they might not have. It's less so like oh I never want anything to be like funny at all. It's like a lot. I've seen a lot of those people that like who were excited about this darker tone were also the people who like struggle with some other movies because they feel like the emotional stakes get undercut by some of the humor. You know what I mean? And even if
No,
I don't agree with all of that, I can see where they're coming from.
Yeah.
I think also another thing is that like movies reflect the times we're living in, and of
Yeah.
course the world has been there's a lot of crazy shit the last couple of years,
Mhm.
and there was a lot of people who just from like even if they're not being overly dramatic, where I generally listen to their opinions, like people who make their money making decisions or people who are part of the entertainment industry, they're like there are some people who are like it's hard for comedies to cheer me up sometimes because I can't the jokes are predictable, it's bad, or it's just not funny enough,
You're
and
disconnected from it
yeah,
because
yeah,
you're like
and then
I can't relate. I'm so in my shit. I can't be like
yeah,
oh
yeah, and
ha
then
ha SpongeBob slipped on a banana peel.
no, 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 right,
Like
and then there are some people who love happy superheroes, but then they're like, I need a Daredevil, I need a Batman because I'm really
there
sad right now, and I just
there's
want to,
there's a balance
yeah,
that the landscape
Yeah.
has in the comics that people I feel like I feel like a decade ago people really struggled because stuff was a little bit more tonally like the same, but I feel like in the last decade we've gotten a lot more tonal expansion and stuff. Like
Yeah.
we've gotten some very like different types of superhero movies coming out like
Oh
Thunderbolts,
yeah.
this um Spider-Man Brand New Day. They're all still very funny and like have the hope core, but they allow us to like actually dig into some of those like darker emotions and like actually spend time with the emotional consequences of the things that happen in the universe instead of just being like okay anyways on to the next laser fight. And that's something that can be frustrating like it's
Yeah.
like especially in, like Stargate had that problem real bad where it would feel like they would just forget about all the repercussions of the last episode, you know what I mean, and that episodic sort of like and now nothing that happened last time matters. It really frustrates people. And so I think what people like a lot about some of these movies is it feels like we're actually dealing with the repercussions of things that have happened to these characters. You know what I mean? Like Supergirl dealing like
Yeah.
with losing Krypton, Brand New Day dealing with the consequences of like basically erasing Peter Parker, Thunderbolts dealing with the consequences of really everything that's happened in the MCU. You know what I mean? Like I think that that's all something that I've noticed like is really like what really gripping a lot of people and like and still managing
Oh
the
yeah.
and so like and all those movies lean into like a
Oh
little
yeah.
bit of a darker sense a darker like more sarcastic self-deprecating like sense of humor, but I think that fits and I think that makes a lot of sense
Yeah.
and it makes a lot of sense that's appealing
Makes
to people right now because of the
yeah.
world we're in.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I like. I absolutely respect people wanting more dark and serious stuff. But also at the same time, I do think with some things they are in recent years not letting them have as much fun as they should. Like Batman. I mean, I don't like how in the past as ever since the Dark Knight, I've just been like,
Yeah.
we got to make Batman even more dark and serious each time. I mean, and
They
like with
are
Spider
like as
Man.
much as I like some of that stuff, they are low key trying to out edge each other.
Mhm.
They're trying to be edgier
and
than the
like
next one.
and like with and
Yeah, I do get that.
Spider-Man, I'm tired of sad Spider-Man, and like there's and it and I it kind of annoys me that some fans are like Spider-Man's only good if he's sad and depressed. So I'm like,
Well, but
that's
I don't
dumb.
I don't think I don't think some of them are saying that. Because I mean, because some of them come from a genuine place of there are some people who are like, I hate when comic movies happen and no one dies. Now, which is funny because in Brand New Day, there's only one person who died and it was off screen. But there were some people who were like, oh yeah, in the Tom Holland Spider-Man films, the first two films, none of them died except for like maybe Mysterio, but he might still be alive. And then,
No way.
yeah, no, right,
That guy dead as fuck.
no, right, no, but it's because Mysterio always comes back, so they're waiting for him to just pop back up. But
Another
like,
Mysterio will come probably, but not
yeah,
that
yeah,
guy.
Mm.
That guy's
no,
dead
no,
as
right.
fuck.
No, right. But with the Tom Holland Spider-Man films, up until when Aunt May died in No Way Home, people were like, finally, his life matters now. Because there were some people who were like, he never suffered anything. Because
Which
they're
is
like,
just
he's
not true.
no, it's just
Like
not enough to me because like this man is swinging around, escaping all these consequences, getting more and more technology, and getting more and more friends, and Zendaya as a girlfriend. That's what they're seeing as
I
because
think
like,
more of it is I think there's an aspect of like relatability because like okay, there's some aspect of like a lot of people didn't felt like they liked that the relatability of like seeing it like again like the aspect of like stuff with like Thunderbolts, Brand New Day, and this Supergirl. I think a lot of people that like them have been talking about how they like them because of how relatable they feel to what people are going through, and then kind of
mm,
give them the hope and guide to like you can still pull yourself out of that. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
still, find the other side. And the whole point of the end of Brand New Day is we're now on the upswing, pun intended, getting into
Hmm.
like in that. And so I'm excited to see more of that. And we're also kind of
Uh,
like on an upswing. We're now in the Spider-Verse movies where, Miles is no longer being the sad boy putting up with bullshit.
hmm.
He's like, I'm putting my foot down actually. And I think that's going to be fun to see. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like because there's an aspect of like a character being passive, whether or not they're happy or sad, a character being passive in a story where the story just happens to them, and then a character being active in a story where they're shaping their own story can also kind of impact people's appreciation of
Hmm.
characters. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's also what some people are frustrated with other characters. They feel like this plot's just happening to them in some of these movies, you know what I mean? Like um whereas in other stuff, it feels like the character's actually affecting the plot. And I feel like Supergirl does a good job of feeling like this is very much her, like shaping the plot.
Oh
You know what
yeah.
I mean? And because of the choices she makes, to the point where like some of those choices have bad consequences, like the family dying in front of her, like that, like
Hmm.
stuff like that is the
Yeah.
is a consequence of her choices. You know what I mean? Even if she
Hmm.
didn't mean to. And then now we see her like making a choice to shape her world to stop drinking and to go back to like stuff like that. Like, and again, we're also like you notice all these things. They're about we get through these dark moments to get the hope core upswing at like Thunderbolts, Brand New Day, and this Supergirl are all about the upswing at the end and looking forward to the better tomorrow that they now have. That now that they've coped
Yeah.
with their problems, and I'm
Hmm.
excited. And I think that makes a lot of sense for the current zeitgeist we're in, where we're all coming out of like these past like half a decade of like insanity, and a lot of people are starting to feel like they kind of have their feet again, even if the world is still going to shit. People feel like they have a sense of self, a sense of like I know how I'm reacting to it better now. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? And I think, and now I know how I'm going to move forward through the world, regardless of whether or not it goes to shit. I feel like a lot of people are feeling that, like globally right now. And I think they respond to that in these movies, and that these movies are being, impacted by that zeitgeist of like people are trying to
Hmm.
rebuild their lives right now more than ever, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, so I think I'm very interested in the fact that all of these movies like have an ups. The whole point is this: we dip to go up, we dip down to
Well,
upswing at the end.
it's one of the things like to some people even with superheroes who have depressing lives or
Mhm.
or obstacles like Spider-Man or even
It's
Supergirl.
about the fact that they
The
get
mo
back up.
No, the moments where they get to laugh and joke at the end
Hmm.
of the movie or the middle of the movie or
The
whatever.
relief.
That that's the most human thing to do.
Hmm.
Like, because even depressed motherfuckers laugh. Even like
Yeah,
they do have
Yeah.
jokes. They do
yeah.
we do see them
Yes.
those moments throughout these films. And
Mhm.
I think the biggest problem is with a lot of movies now is the editing. Like sometimes studio
Yeah,
mandates sometimes studio mandates take jokes
especially in
out
these movies.
or put
Yeah.
jokes in. And with Supergirl,
Sometimes
like
the jokes
huh?
like yeah, so it depends on if the joke organically feels like it's coming from the character and them reacting to the world, you know, in character. And then there's other stuff where it's like, was that just put in to be a trailer clip? You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And
Yeah.
when that feels the most obvious in some of this stuff, I feel like that annoys people. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like and even if it's not a joke, there's some moments where it's like, okay, that was for the trailer and it kind of felt forced. Like my unironically, my least favorite part of Brand New Day is probably the scene where she's like, and I'm Jean Grey. And I'm like, okay, whatever. Like she's like,
Yeah,
you know my
the whole
that
like
part that
the
the
whole
exchange between them like on the phone call when she's at the desk, that felt weirdly inserted for a trailer clip. Do you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like
to
that
be
feels like
honest,
trailer fodder.
the whole whole keeping it a secret, her being Jean Grey and having the and like even it being a secret
It's
in
all a
the
bunch of marketing stuff.
Well, actually, well, I
it
can.
really feels dumb when you have because the characters, they're not going to have any reaction to being like someone saying they're Jean Grey because
Well,
they
I
don't
can.
know of Jean Grey.
Well, I can probably explain that. Sony handles the marketing for all the Spider-Man films.
Yeah.
They have a history of spoiling everything, but not just that. Okay, this is a problem. Tom Holland, when he produced Spider-Man Brand New Day, he wanted to be a detective mystery because he was inspired by the Batman 22-hour passing film, and he was inspired by the detective run of the times Peter Parker investigated mysteries in the comic books.
And probably
So,
Spider Noir as well.
no, no, and Spider Noir. So that's why he was like, I want to meet him. The mystery character will be a non-Spider-Man villain, and then during the
Mhm.
course of the film, that's when they were like, what if it's Jean? And what if it gets, I say, Sync to play Jean? The problem is the stuff leaked so many times, and also this is also unfortunately another problem. There are a lot of comic book movies that
Leak
try to
culture in
keep.
general is a fucking atrocious.
Oh
It's
no, no, but
ruining
like
everything.
even with Spider-Man No Way Home, the original plan before everything, before Jamie Foxx's agent announced he was in the film, before Alfred Molina said he was in Spider-Man No Way Home, the original plan was to market Spider-Man No Way Home as a Doctor Strange versus Peter Parker movie and have no footage of the other characters because they wanted to be a
I
genuine surprise in
remember
the
when they
theater.
tried to start doing that, and they tried and like had like, and there was like they edited out the other Spider-Man from trailers and stuff, and then the cat came out of the bag, and they were like, I guess we got to stop trying to make it a secret.
Mm.
No, no,
But
right, right,
that
right.
like
So
that stuff is like it almost like that. Yeah, all the surrounding promo marketing stuff. I feel like that kind of like really like gets in the weeds of like messing up the flow of stories sometimes. Do you know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
it's like thinking about all that external stuff kind of like can trip stuff up, I think. Cuz and like in
Yeah.
Supergirl, I think I agree it should have leaned more into the fact that she's like beating up a
mm,
bunch of sex traffickers, but it's clearly they were afraid to do that because that would cause a controversy for some
well,
fucking
even
reason.
no, no, even
Mm-hmm.
like
Even though
some of the
they already
more
knew
We
that
can
her existing as a woman would be
soda.
a
no,
controversy.
because have you guys seen some of the craziest shit people have been saying? Like people hate this movie.
I've seen some like stuff,
Okay.
but
Well,
I
no,
need.
I've seen this one tweet from this fucking one guy, and it went viral because there are a lot of guys jumping on it. But keep in mind, there's only two female superhero movies that have talked about sex trafficking: Black Widow and uh and of course Supergirl. There, of
Live
course,
action.
right. But
Oh,
this tweet was about movies, right? And he says, "I am so sick and tired of female superhero movies always attacking men and always talking about sex trafficking. Can we get one female superhero movie without a reference to sex trafficking?" Keep in mind, there's Captain Marvel.
Captain
There's
Marvel,
also
Wonder Woman.
yeah, like the amount of other things.
Um,
But this person was acting as if it was everywhere. That this person, like this is attacking all of men, and that every female-led project has sex trafficking. This is one guy
not even
saying
yeah,
this.
not
it's
even the Harley Quinn movie wasn't even about that.
if you're a man and you and and you think that a film saying that that sex traffickers are bad,
Check the hard drive.
and that is anti-men somehow,
because they think it's like
then
they somehow.
then you're kind of sus
Yeah,
yourself.
No,
No,
you're
they
self-reporting. It's like, let me see what's on your laptop, weirdo.
No, that's why a lot of these fucking morons hating on Supergirl movie. They keep saying stuff like this and then talk about this, and then someone asks them, "Where are you coming from with this?" And they're like, "Oh, I think just lazy writing because they don't make me earn the right to. They force me to hate him. Like I have to hate him for some moral reason." I'm like, "What?" I'm like, wait.
Why else would you hate someone?
No, because they feel like a female superhero movie has to earn everything, has to earn the acting, earn the writing, earn the casting, earn the effects. Like the amount of it's fucking insane. Like the amount.
Meanwhile,
of
in Superman, they basically just introduced Lex as a pre-existing person we're just supposed to hate because it's Lex. It's like dead ass, and it works because that's how fucking movies work. That's how these fucking movies work. Get on the boat.
Yeah.
Get with the program. Get over it. What do you mean that? Oh, I'm supposed to hate the villain? Yeah. Relax. You can enjoy him as a villain, but it's like when that person got mad at me for saying that Mysterio was canonically a groomer, and I was like, and they were apparently like a big Mysterio like fan account, and I'm like, you can still like him. He's a bad guy. You're supposed to like when the bad guy does bad things, because that's what makes a story fucking interesting. Yeah. Dumbass. I liked Krem as a bad guy. He was very entertaining, very compelling, moved the story forward, was a good challenge, and it had a satisfying ending. What more do you want? What do you mean?
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
Oh yeah. There are bad guys who they're very real life evils, and you can't enjoy them because of that. But like this is not this or like Mysterio are not situations like that.
Yeah, you're supposed to be like, I enjoy this, how evil this person is. Like this is a really well done evil piece of shit. Like I loved how Mysterio is just such a piece of shit. And then this Krem is also just such a piece of shit in different ways, but you're like, yeah, this is compelling. Like, you're supposed to enjoy when you want to watch someone die. You're in a movie, and like you're supposed to be invested. You know what I mean? And it's like, and it's just like, and it's very much like the self-report of like, I don't want that tells me that they relate to him more than her.
Just like how it's a self-report, or when they when right-wingers complained that Creature Commandos had a Nazi killing robot being like oh it's just about us. I'm like, if you think if you think this is about you,
then it probably is.
Then there's something wrong with you.
For real.
If you think that it's that the Nazis are like you, then you're a Nazi.
No, for real. It's like, oh, so that's who you're seeing yourself in. Okay, interesting, noted. Like, if the clan hood fits, you must acquit. Like you have to accept, like, that people who are like, oh, I'm like, and obviously it's the thing where like, you know, fiction and reality have like an interesting relationship. But it's a thing where, like, if you're seriously sitting there and being like, I can't empathize with anyone other than the rapist in the story, it's like, that's weird.
Yeah.
That's strange. Same thing happened with people who, like, are weird about obsession. It's like, I think you guys have some problems to unpack. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just how people respond to certain stories, even if that doesn't necessarily, like, guarantee that they're like that. It does make people around them go, oh, so that's how you think. And that's worth noting.
Yeah, it's just sad because like with the Supergirl movie is like I mean it obviously has defenders, we all like it, like other people like it. I think the more it goes on, people like it. I already know what's gonna happen.
I'll be real. I think it dragged a little bit at some points, but not terribly. Like there were some parts in the like I agree that in the beginning that could have been edited a little tighter, but I also feel like it wasn't a big deal because they gave a little bit more like breathing room to explore, like to establish the space in the galaxy as, you know, in this current DCU, and kind of give us a vibe of what it's like. I love that we got on like a space bus / airplane. That was awesome. That tells you so much about the rest of this galactic society in one scene, and I love that.
I don't know. That's I completely agree. So, like, it's thing in regards to like the whole editing fiasco, controversy, whatever, between Craig Gillespie and James Gunn. My personal opinion, why I really did love the film a lot. I'm like, oh no, this is a good 10 minutes could have cut out. The things
There's some pacing issues, yeah.
the
In the
transition.
beginning mainly.
Yeah, in the like I love some of the stuff in the first act, and I love the flashbacks getting to act two and some dramatic stuff. The third act to me is the best part, but I feel like there's something around here in the first and second act that could have been reshuffled.
The
Yes.
transition over there, and I think it's because I think there was some stuff with like the Kryptonian flashbacks kind of make the kind of smooth thing. They were good, but trying to incorporate that and keep the momentum up at the same time can be difficult. And I feel like maybe if the flashbacks had been cut up more and sprinkled out more instead of being one big, like the one that was the longest, I thought they should have cut that up more and spread it out. Do you know what I mean? Like that long first one, I was like, okay, this could have or long second one, this could have been cut in half, and the second half could have been shown at another time, and then the momentum would have been kept up. Do you know what I mean? Like we didn't need this huge intermission.
Yeah. It's just,
Yeah. You can finish what you're gonna say first.
oh no, you can go first. Sorry.
I'm going to another topic, but so if you have more about this topic, keep going.
Okay, fine. Well, I guess I just wanted to say that, sorry, I should remember what I was going to say earlier, but like, people really, really like Millie Alcock as Kara. Even the normal people even the normal people who aren't sexist who didn't enjoy the film said they loved her as Kara. I already know what's going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to have the Andrew Garfield effect when she shows up in Man of Tomorrow next year, and people love that film. They're going to be like, "Oh man, she's a great Supergirl. I've always liked her." I was like, "Fuck you." I'm like, "Fuck."
Yup, it's gonna happen. I already know. She's gonna show up, and they're gonna be like, "Oh yeah, that movie." And it's a thing where I almost feel like Supergirl came out a little too soon.
Yeah.
I
maybe.
think it happened too soon to where people were like I knew people who like didn't realize it had came out yet.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? Like it didn't have as much time to get its marketing hype built up the way Superman did. And that was a huge part of why it flopped, I think. Not even like the sexist bullshit. A big part of it was it did not get enough time to get marketing.
Like it was fine. So there was someone on Twitter who was responding to a post about that was trying to compare Spider-Man Brand New Day and Supergirl. And
I think they have some similarities. Totally.
Comparing them with how Spider-Man Brand New Day clearly got a lot more marketing.
Yeah,
I saw someone in the comments saying, "Oh no, Supergirl definitely got a lot more marketing." I'm like, no fucking way.
No, it did not. No way.
There's no world where that happened.
That person's not living in reality.
Barely any marketing.
Even if Supergirl had gotten a lot of marketing, there's no fucking way it would ever get the same level of marketing as the fucking MCU Spider-Man movie. They have more money. They have more pull. They're more culturally. Like Spider-Man is the most famous superhero besides Superman. Let's be so fucking for real.
No, but not just that. Even leading up to the film, I knew what the date was. Most of DC fans I knew online knew the date was. Me and several other friends who were looking forward to the Supergirl, and I was honest with. I even asked them, "Does something feel off?" And they went, "Yeah," because I could tell her cousin Clark, Superman, had more marketing in July of 2025 than she ever did. I can tell. There's not enough TV spots. There's not enough billboards. There's not enough reminders.
There's also just not enough. There's not enough time for people to really see the stuff that was put out.
And also another thing,
for it to sink in and for people to build up hype like they did for Superman.
Oh no! And also another thing is 2026 this year is technically one of the best years for cinema. Like in terms of the movies that are.
Yeah, it's actually crazy.
Yeah, right. And even the Hollywood experts said this movie is gonna. Not this movie, like the Hollywood experts said, the movie industry are gonna be very happy this year. We're all gonna make money regardless, which is true. They've all been making money. And there's even been breaking records from even pre the start of the pandemic. And
there's a video on this we should watch after we're done, actually.
Oh yeah, I'll be down for that. But even I knew something was going to happen because there were a lot of films I could tell were undermarketed and I could tell weren't going to make money. And also, unfortunately, there was a bit of a cataclysmic event recently in May. Supergirl, You had Moana, Mandalorian, Masters of the Universe not doing well financially. Then
Like
Supergirl.
so
Four.
much was happening at once.
Yeah,
Everyone
yeah.
and oh, the
Yeah.
Odyssey. Thank you very much.
No, the Odyssey made a fuck ton of money. Brian Brandon did
Like there's just too much happening.
there's a reason why even the delusional grifters attacked Christopher Nolan because they assumed the Odyssey wouldn't make money. It did, obviously made $1 billion, but they were looking at the role of movies bombing and they were like, oh shit, I guess Americans hate blockbusters now because they're not making money. And I'm like, no, they do. They're just saving the money for the Odyssey and Spider-Man.
Yeah, no,
They already
it's
bought their
it's
tickets.
like it's happening too quickly.
Yeah.
Stuff's too quick. It's in theaters for only for a short amount of time, and then it's gone. And then there's so much happening at once, and there's so much like we're now inundated with more TV and movies and media than ever before. And at some point, it's too like there's like a point of critical mass that we've kind of reached on some level where if you don't have the most money in the world for marketing, you simply will not. You'll be wasting money marketing. That's simply the reality now. That if you're not fucking Marvel and Disney, your marketing is gonna be a shot in the dark, and that's kind of sucks right now.
Yeah, well, I mean, like,
the amount
Universal is also kind of killing it too, just a little bit, but that's mostly because of Christopher Nolan with the Odyssey, I think, and maybe
no, because like so much, but
yeah.
I'll be so real. The Odyssey is not going off of actual marketing. It's going off of organic hype. It's like so much of it is about the clout of Christopher Nolan, the fact that it's the Odyssey, like so much of that is like being like like so much of that doesn't even need as much marketing. You know what I mean? Like that's there's some things that like don't need as much marketing because they will just get word of mouth. Does that make sense? Like but there's other things that like especially new stuff that's completely new, like I Love Boosters, that needs to be pushed by both marketing and word of mouth as much as possible, or it's just not going to get the attention it deserves because there's so much other things happening. There's just too much. There's so much. And now people are in echo chambers more than ever with algorithms where they're not going to get shown something unless someone they know is already into it or unless they're opting into it. The amount of things that I don't hear about until someone is already come out now, the amount of movies I don't know exist until they're already out of theaters because I don't hear anything about them until it's already out that's for the past few years. It's been really annoying.
No, it's been a big problem, especially with like the amount of times a movie does. Like even now with the Master Universe, which is killing on Amazon streaming, there were a lot of people who admitted I had no idea it was theatrical. I thought it was only
no one
for
knew.
Streaming. Yeah, and then that's another problem. So like, because unfortunately, like Dungeons and Dragons, Honor Among Thieves, or even like other films from before the COVID pandemic, like that suffered financially. Like you and I. Favorite films are ours, Kira. Power Rangers 2017 and King Arthur, Legend of the Sword. 2017 was a super packed fucking year, and I knew
it was ridiculous.
I knew
it was ridiculous, bro.
Similar thing happened with summer 2023. With like you had there were a lot of big films that people
Barbie,
expected to do well, but didn't. Stuff like Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1.
That showed a bit.
Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
Yeah,
it's because people spend so much money on this shit, and then they are hit this critical mass point where you simply actually don't have enough pull of clout or money to get people to actually care enough to go when they know it could go to get to streaming, or to get people to even notice it exists when everyone's in an echo chamber. When people are not being shown advertisements at all, because the algorithm has determined that they will predetermined that they don't have an interest in it, people won't know what to be interested in. Does that make sense? Like we've created like these self-fulfilling prophecies to some degree where people are now more railroaded into their niches than ever, which means they don't expand their palates to try new things, to see a movie that they might not already know about. You know what I mean?
Yeah, similarly, another film from 2023 that also, even though this did well at the box office, it did still underperform compared to what people were hoping for. Is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse? People were hoping that would be $1 billion film.
Well, theaters were struggling. Like 2023 had so much stuff coming out, but theaters were still struggling so bad.
Also another.
People were like, "I'll go to one movie."
And
this whole year.
Particularly June 2023 had so many movies come out, and then like June and July of 2023, I'm pretty sure like the only ones that really blew up were Barbie and Oppenheimer.
Oh no. The
And
three
again,
the
that was majorly out of online memes
Yeah,
becoming viral.
and also the Super Mario Brothers animated movie of 2023 made a
yeah.
billion in 2 weeks because Nintendo
Well, yeah,
adults and families already
that
just
was
bought everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
that's a thing
that
where you're
had
bound to
the
have some success.
Yeah.
happily for that film. What really helped that was that there wasn't a lot coming out around it because it came out in April instead
Yeah.
of during summer.
I'm
Oh no.
wondering when these studios are going to realize that what was previously considered like the best time to release something, it doesn't. That's not. I don't think that is the same
Oh
anymore.
yeah,
I
I
think
think
Yeah.
there's
now
Yeah.
more
some.
than ever, people would benefit to some degree of being more willing to put their movies out in the technically off time of when technically
Mhm.
movies are, because that is when people are going to be
Well,
like, oh, this is the main thing I know
well,
is
actually,
happening right now.
Well, actually, funny you say that, Kira. That I remember there was a time. I completely agree that there was a time. Some people forget this. Years ago, like years and years ago, back in the 2000s,
In the ancient
January,
era.
you're right, January and
Mhm.
February were seen as a month for terrible movies. As in, if a studio
Yes.
wanted to put out a bad movie, it go to January and February. But things really changed with two big movies. Well, actually, three big movies. When John Wick came out February 2014, got positive reviews and made money.
Mhm.
Then Deadpool, the first Deadpool movie, came out in February 2016, became the
And this is
highest
when
gross.
they started
Yeah,
pushing these as
Yeah.
Valentine's Day,
yeah,
like
action
movies.
films,
Like
and
they
then
started pushing that.
and they were shocked that so many couples wanted to watch action films in February of
Yeah.
2016, and it made
Yeah.
money, and which of course led to Black Panther for February being Black History Month, getting a release in February, and that made $1 billion. It was a great film, obviously, but some people said you guys broke records because February was always seen as a shitty month for box
Mhm.
office up
But
until
that was
Well,
in the past. Like
yeah,
that's
yeah,
we don't really live in that world anymore.
yeah.
People now
Yeah.
are, I
yeah,
think, are more. I think people
experimental.
hate. I think people would rather go to a different movie every month than try to force themselves to go to 10 movies in like 2 months. It's just too
Yeah, yeah.
much.
No, the
No
summer
one's
block.
going to do. They don't have money to
Look,
do that.
Yeah,
Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars are coming out both in December's
I
or
think that's
this
smart.
year and
yeah.
next year, which is different from the previous Avengers films, which would come
April or
out
May.
April or May. I'm pretty sure with that that the reason why they did December is because Spider-Man No Way Home made so much in December.
Yeah.
Annoying. Yeah,
So they are going they are learning from the this is now
Yeah.
big month for on in post COVID times.
At what point are they going to realize every month can be a big month if you stop shoving everything into 1 month?
Yeah.
When's that going to occur to them? I think it's soon. I think it's soon. When is like genuinely, it's the thing where like, and that's the thing where like, oh, back like there's so much stuff that's changed, not just because of COVID, like to where now people have more of an ability to like, people are more willing and more like to go to things like later now. You know what I mean? Even like during school year, the amount of fucking kids that were at our brand new day screening that was at midnight during a school week. There were so many kids, and they didn't give a shit. And neither did their parents. No one cares.
Mhm.
No one cares. Especially in post-COVID school systems, no one cares anymore, man. They've given up. Just
Yeah.
let the movies be during the school year. They've given up on school. Trust me.
Going on to another topic, more actually about Supergirl. I want to talk about crypto. So
Mhm.
in
Mhm.
this, so I think it was fine for this film, but I really hope that we don't also get this in Man of Tomorrow. Both Superman 2025 and Supergirl 2026 like sidelined crypto by having something happen to him, making him not be able to appear on screen for most of the film. And I think so. I think if they do that, it was something like that again in Man of Tomorrow, it's gonna start getting a little annoying because they
Yeah,
just
I
keep
would. I
doing
get
the
what you
same
mean.
Aim thing. They keep Abe sidelining him because like people do love people love of crypto, but also just simply it can become repetitive.
Yeah,
That being
logistically,
like
it's like, oh, again.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But I think this one sidelined him a lot more for obvious reasons because the whole point is
Yeah.
he's fucked up. Whereas the Superman, how he was a lot more present in that movie. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? But he gets sidelined for a way shorter amount of time, not most of the movie.
I would say
I don't think that's
I
true.
seem to remember it was like half the film he was silent. Maybe I'm just remembering wrong.
I don't think
Whatever.
so.
It's about well, I probably have to go back and check the timestamps later, but I think he gets shot with the paralytic dart around like 25-30 minutes in, if I had to guess. And then we get a little four flashbacks with him for a bit. And the movie's
We're
an
talking about
hour.
Superman.
Oh, sorry about oh, sorry.
We're talking about how much screen time he had in Superman. Like, because he did get sidelined when mostly when he was in the prison,
Mhm.
and then after that he was a lot more like relevant. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when he got him getting kidnapped by Lex. I think it does take a
It's
chunk of time, but definitely less than Supergirl.
yeah.
You know, as a movie,
That
because
is.
Supergirl is like pretty much he's only there at like the end and the beginning, and then it's
Mhm.
flashbacks. So he was
I
quite
just
sidelined
hope
at the
that there's
time.
not. I just hope that there's not another thing like that
Yeah.
in Man Tomorrow because I don't want that to become a repetitive repeating thing.
Hmm.
Something happens to Crypto.
Like I could see. I think it would be more interesting if Crypto like accidentally got high in the next movie, and they were like, "What the fuck?" And then he just kept like something where he's not out of the count, but he is like causing a little bit of chaos would be fun. You know
Oh
what I mean?
yeah.
Like him being a little bit hard to like control. I think is fun. Is more fun
Mhm.
than having him be completely sidelined. I think that would be fun because
Yeah.
you can do some fun stuff to like make the have people have the stakes as far as the dog's safety without having him be completely sidelined. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So
Oh yeah. Yeah. This film shows us that the message that Clark's parents gave him is true. That is actually what they meant to say. It wasn't some translation error. I think in Man Tomorrow we do need to have a conversation between Kara and Clark about that and how that makes them feel as the last Kryptonians. Like that because I think that's I think they obviously have feelings about that and I think it would be very interesting to see them explore those feelings together of how they just talking about it talking through the stuff of and you know even though we as the audience know that is absolutely confirmed to be the case, the real thing, there is still for Clark arc. It could be he could still think that there's a chance it's a mistranslation. So I think it would be
I
good to
don't think
have
I,
Kara be like, yeah, no, I can understand Kryptonian. I know for a fact that is as what it is.
I think that could happen, but like that would kind of be repetitive actually because we already had that scene in Superman with Mr. Terrific.
Hmm.
Superman already trusts him to be smart enough to decipher it, and Mr. Terrific says, "I'm really sorry, but it's the truth. I wish it wasn't, but
Makes sense.
I can read this language. It is." So again, that would actually be repetitive, unfortunately. But I want them to have a conversation about it, but not necessarily. I don't think he needs it
Mm.
confirmed. I think what really needs to happen is for Kara to make him understand that that wasn't the only like opinion that the Kryptonians
Yeah, that
had.
makes sense.
That there was debates that her father felt differently, that his uncle felt differently, that there was debates even inside the House of L on what to do. I think that would be of value to Clark and wouldn't be repetitive because
Oh yeah.
that's a context he doesn't have, that not everyone on Krypton was like that, agreed with that, and also can give some context as to why his parents went down that route because they clearly like were desperate and like so like obviously there's a way that you can kind of give context to like how there's people were on a larger level, which I think would help. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like the knowledge that's not all that the culture was, that's not the only legacy they have, that there was a lot of other stuff going on, like Superman learning about Argo specifically and his uncle. I think that's the most interesting aspect there, and learning that he does have family, that like I think Superman will be comforted by the fact that his uncle and Ant would be not just proud of Kara, but proud of him for how he
Oh, yeah.
rejected that message. Because we just know that if because she specifically says in the movie, Clark, that beautiful little boy that your brother wants to turn into a conqueror. They're like they feel bad for Clark. They're like that's such a horrible thing to say, to give a burden a child with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I think they would be relieved and overjoyed to find out that that's not what happened to him. That he is
Now,
not that.
do you guys think that there's a chance of like in Man Tomorrow having Superman actually go to Argo City and like meet his uncle and aunt?
If Brain has made the match tomorrow, I wouldn't be shocked if he already has them captured off screen. Like they're in the bottle city of Brainiac. But like if they just turn Argo into Candor, maybe. But I still think they want
That was kind of the vibe.
Yeah. So I could see that being the case. I don't fully know. The reason why I say that is usually Kara's parents are always dead. I mean, they could do something different where like they're alive being experimented on by Brainiac.
Well, her mom's already dead.
Yeah, right. Well, I don't know, because like the dad. I mean, kind of
the dad is probably dead.
Yeah.
But the question is everyone dead? Is there anyone left there? Is the question, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I can see it coming back through Brainiac's bottle thing on his ship, because that probably is what they're saving it up for. Because like Brainiac, regardless of different mythologies, he's always connected to Krypton.
But I feel like Kara kind of implied it's gone. I feel like she implied Argo is not there, like it's not a thing anymore.
Yeah, no, there will be more Kryptonians in Man tomorrow, probably held hostage by Brainiac if based off of what they might be doing. Whether
he could have swept down and like took all the people who were still alive from Argo.
Yeah.
But I feel like Kara would have probably, like, knowing her and knowing like where like that she's going around space, you know what I mean? I feel like she would have gone back to like at least look at it, and maybe she knows that it's gone, or that it's
makes sense.
Like I have a feeling she knows that there's no one there anymore, at least, or you know what I mean. And whether or not they died or they were taken is something she might not know. She might think they died, and maybe they were actually taken, and that will be the surprise to her.
And also, sorry, what were you saying?
I was just gonna say a small thing I really liked in the film is I think one of my favorite scenes in the film is everything with the space bus, us, and like
I did love that.
I thought that was such a fun sequence, and I love this little alien guy that I think is played by Seth Rogen. I gotta actually make sure about that. But,
that was definitely Seth Rogen.
But like I loved him, and like that scene particularly, like I was just so much fun to watch.
Yep, it was Seth Rogen. I'm confirmed. It was a secret uncredited cameo.
Okay.
He did it as that was basically like a surprise.
Makes sense.
Like they didn't announce that beforehand, and that was supposed to be like a little surprise because everyone knows that voice. I think he did a good job for that little character though.
Oh yeah,
when he said, "I love how if I had balls."
Yeah, that was such a wild joke. I loved that. I love just how like calm he was throughout that whole situation, because
he was resigned. He was like, whatever.
Like I love how it shows that this is such a common thing for him to experience. He's just like, okay.
No, it also shows that this is like the state of this galaxy, that people are constantly being raided for what little they have. You know what I mean? They just feel so powerless. They have to resign to it. That's why it's so impactful to see everyone kind of just like shocked and staring at Kara in awe as she fights back and like it comes back and like does this outside stuff. Because that's like, not only is that someone who's powerful, but that's someone who's powerful who's using that power to help them instead of exploit them. Because it seems like everyone that we're meeting, like Lobo, Krem, it's all like, it's very much Star Wars-y of like everyone trying to exploit each other. And then Kara comes along and she isn't doing that. And that kind of like startles a bunch of people into like either behaving better or worse, it seems. Like, because she inspires some people. It seems like even little dude, as a joke, he was like, wow, that was awesome. And like, I doubt he'll be necessarily braver, but that might be something he tells people about that. He's like, this one chick, she beat them off, like she like beat the shit out of them. She like drove them all off and saved our bus. Like spreading that kind of legend would inspire people to be a little bit less
Oh
scared
yeah.
of them, maybe, and that would kind of like disrupt their power of just having this fear-mongering power over everyone. So I think that's interesting. But
Mm.
she's kind of like leaving a bit of a legacy of like showing people, hey, as you know, even on the other planet, of showing like the brides and showing all those people, like, hey, you don't have to submit to this. You don't have you
Oh
can
yeah.
try to fight back. You know what I mean? There's a way to. There are people who are willing to help you. Not everyone who has power, which is again kind of the whole point of Superman and Supergirl, you know, and they do it in different ways, but it's very much showing even in this movie, not everyone who has power wants to use it to hurt you. And that is why I love the moment where
Mm.
he like is giving her the suit and he's like it's colorful because we want people to know we're good, and then it cuts to her having put the suit on for
Mm.
the final fight because I feel like she was really understanding that finally, of understanding the impact of seeing someone with her powers do good and not like I feel like this movie was about her understanding that what just the imagery that she presents can impact people with, because she
Yeah.
remember she says because she says my life, what does my life matter, what does it matter if I die, how am I important in the grand scheme of things. And her dad's like, oh, but your our lives and culture are unfolding into the future, which is true, but I feel like there's a part of it that comes from Clark that's like you can be this beacon of hope, you can be this inspiration to other people to, and
Hmm.
then maybe they don't have to suffer the same fate that we did. And I think that that's something she didn't really get because of her own pain until this movie, and I thought that was really cool, where
Yeah.
she hadn't really experienced, you know, and the kind of a similar thing happens in Maz, even if in a different way, where Kara and Maz says, "Oh, I didn't know they were cheering for me. I've never saved a world before." Like, and I think that's a similar moment of like how it feels to realize the impact you can have, even if you're still not a perfect person, even if you're still in pain, you can really have change other people's lives for the better, and that can make you feel like you matter more. And I think that's what really helped her in this movie, like having that impact on Ruthie and the other girls. I think really made her realize the great power comes with great responsibility thing. But the flip side of that is like with the ability, like with great responsibility comes great power. Do you know what I mean? Like with the
Yeah.
like if you make the right choices in front of other people, there's a power there to impact other people to make better choices. Do you know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Yeah.
And again, that's kind of a similar thing we also see in Brand New Day with May's tombstone saying, if you help one person, you help everyone. Like, I think that's very true to a lot of these superhero stories where it's like they are this symbolic image of like even if you have all the power in the world, you should use it for like a good thing. You know what I mean? And I think
Hmm.
obviously that's simple, like saying it out loud, but it's interesting how she didn't seem to like she was didn't seem to really see herself as powerful because she wasn't powerful enough to save her people. You know what I mean? She didn't have. There's something so interesting about the fact that she doesn't have power until she gets into a yellow sun, but because of the way she travels around, like she feels she almost seeks out feeling more powerless because the feeling of having power, it seems like she hates that because all that power doesn't actually bring her people back. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
it's almost like she was rejecting that because it was making her feel guilty, like worse survivor's guilt. Do you know what I mean? Like, what's the point of power if I couldn't save myself with it? But I think now she's realizing this is what I can do with the power. Even if I couldn't save my family, I can still save other people. And that's something that I think she needed a lot because she wasn't she wasn't really searching for a home as much as she was searching for a meaning. She was searching for something to give her life context and meaning after she was just like launched off of Argos and lost like all context to her existence. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Okay. Well, I'm probably end this off soon. And are there any final things about this film that you would like to say?
Supergirl, I think, is a very fun and very solid film, and I think, unfortunately, it's going to hit with that. It's been hit with that type of like comic book film curse of like some people are going to appreciate this more years from now, but at the time they're being either very divisive or like we're going back and forth on it. I'm glad there are a lot of people who enjoy this. I'm glad people are liking it more and more. I'm glad that Millie Alcock is Kara. She's a great Kara. I'm
Oh
excited to
yeah.
see more of her
Yeah.
and Man of Tomorrow and more in her in the DCU. I think this movie does accomplish in selling her as
Yeah.
Supergirl.
Yeah.
Um, it's a great soft point for Lobo. I think we'll get more of him later. I wouldn't be shocked if we see more of Ruth in the near future, just as
She
just
did.
appearing
She was awesome.
yeah. And I love the action. I even love the though I wish the first and second act was a bit better. It's in terms of some editing choices. I do love a lot of the way this film handles music, especially in the last half.
Oh yeah,
Something
I really
interesting.
liked the music and in the film. I
Mhm.
thought that was a lot of fun. You were gonna say, Kara?
Something interesting, like I found out, a good example, I think, of the difference between actual screen time and impact on the plot. Technically, Crypto has more screen time in Supergirl than he has in Superman, but he has way more of an impact on the plot and is way more active and involved in like in interacting with other characters like meaningfully in Superman than this one. He doesn't really do anything other than be the dog and get shot here. And so it creates this illusion that he was more in Superman than he was in this because he actually shapes the plot of Superman more. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind
Yeah,
of an ironic example of what I was talking about more, where you can give a character more screen time, but if it's passive, it won't feel like it.
yeah, definitely. Hey, um, you know, what I think my last thing I'd like to say is even though this film didn't do well at the box office, I really hope that they
Mm.
let it have a sequel. Because I do want to see more from Supergirl where she's in a starring role. No, I don't want I don't like when characters get relegated to they are only allowed to appear in other people's films, like Hulk. Hulk. It sucks. It's been this long and he has another solo film. Like I don't want and like this being the second film of the DCU, it is kind of a similar thing. As with Hulk, where his film was the second film of the MCU. I'm like, please do not have this start doing other situations like Hulk, where
Well, it
he
was, and then it wasn't, and then it was again.
only gets to appear in other people's films. Yeah,
Yeah, I could like I it'll depend because like a lot of this will depend on not like the future of where all this merger bullshit goes and will not
yeah.
even be up to individual creators, unfortunately.
Yeah. I think that's really everything to say for this episode. Thank you both
Wait, one
for
more thing.
yeah.
I just realized the moment where Ruth says I'm gonna make swords like my dad, they could bring her back as like a weapons master, as someone who's making the really like she could even get into making like like kryptonite weaponry at some point. If it's like what something Kara would want, you know what I mean? I could see Kara being like, "Oh, we need something made. I know a person," and then it cuts to them
Yeah,
going to
makes
Ruth's
sense.
plan. I could see that something like that's how I most likely see her being brought back is like as a small like I know who can make us some good swords type of thing. You know what I mean? Kind
Yes,
of like
yeah.
Steel and Maz when he shows up and he's like, "Yeah, I'll make you a Buster sword."
Mm. Yeah.
But yeah, that's my last note of like I could see her again as like doing the things she said, becoming a weapons master like her dad. That would make sense.
Yeah. Well, again, thank you both for joining me for this. This has been a lot of fun. Um, and thank you everyone for listening. If you like this analysis, please give a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or a 5-star rating on Spotify. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the film, so please let me know. If you'd like to listen more from me, please subscribe. Many more analysis from me coming, so keep on the lookout. This is your host, Smash Trey John, signing off.